This is the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino and SP3 on the Bleav Podcast Network.
What is going on, everybody? Good Tuesday afternoon here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, Rick Ucchino and SP3 with you guys for the next 45 minutes or so. So get in on the conversation. We have a lot we got to try to knock out here in the next few minutes. Cody Rhodes appears to be in for the main event of WrestleMania 40. The Rock appears to be out. My, how quickly things change in the course of just a few weeks. Speaking of which, how about how much things change in 9 days? It wasn't that long ago, SP3. We were celebrating new tag team champs, and now they are right back around the waists of the Judgment Day, thanks to Big Jim Uso last night in the main event of Monday Night Raw. We have a new SmackDown general manager. Nick Aldis has made his WWE on-screen debut. We got a big title match. Now two of them set up for Crown Jewel. Where on God's green earth is Jade Cargill going to end up? What does the future hold for LA Knight? Holy shit, Gunther is just incredible. Logan Paul's returning to WWE. And is it time for Tony Khan to put the phone down? We got a lot to talk about, SP3. How you doing today?
Whole lot of WWE. If you're a WWE fan, that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, everyone. It is me, True Fan Now, SP3, back once again with Rick Ucchino here on a Tuesday, back on a regular scheduled day, scheduled programming, and trying to talk about a whole bunch of WWE. Oh, joy.
You seem mad about that. You seem mad that we're a little WWE heavy today. But don't worry.
New Japan Pro Wrestling just had 2 matches of the year classics with Shingo Takagi and Tomohiro Ishii, as well as Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay, who Dave Meltzer, my drunk uncle Dave Meltzer, went on and said that the content of that match was better than Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson, one of the best matches of this year, but that was one of the best matches of the year too. We had that. You got AEW got coming up to Full Gear coming up, and got the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal this week. You got Jay White and Penta El Zero Miedo. Got Christian Cage doing the best work of his life. Bryan Danielson proving why he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. No,
which is why, by the way,
all about WWE. Nah, it's really, I'm just putting on a bit, ladies and gentlemen. I literally said to somebody the other day, I was like, I honestly don't have much to complain about the on-screen products of both WWE and AEW. It makes my job very much harder because there's not much for me to complain about.
I know it is. I know this is a trying time for you, SP3, but we'll get through it together, buddy. Don't worry. It's pro wrestling. Sooner or later, somebody's going to fuck something up, right? But I am glad you brought up AEW Full Gear, by the way. November 18th, Saturday at the Kia Forum out in Los Angeles. MJF versus Switchblade Jay White for the AEW World Championship. And we want to get you in the damn building. You get to California, we'll get you in the building. We are giving away 2 sets of tickets. That's right. 2 pairs of tickets to AEW Full Gear, Saturday, November 18th. All you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is be a subscriber to this YouTube channel and retweet my pinned post, tweet, whatever the hell it's called. The first thing that's on my page on what used to be Twitter, now the X, retweet that, subscribe to Bleav in Pro Wrestling, and on November 1st, we will be drawing 2 lucky winners to get in the door for the Kia Forum. So now I know it's difficult for people on the East Coast maybe to get out to the West Coast, but if you're out in the Arizona, I know we got listeners and watchers in Arizona and Vegas. It's a short drive, folks. You get there, we'll get you in the door. No problem. So again, subscribe to Bleav in Pro Wrestling. Give this video a thumbs up as well, because that really helps drive up our audience. We are closing in. I want to get to 700 subscribers by the end of this month. I believe we are 16 away. I believe we're 16 away now. So we're climbing there. We're climbing there. And by the way, a huge congratulations to this man over here. 10,000 subscribers at True Heel Heat. That is fucking unbelievable. Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Thank you, sir. A lot of hard work, a lot of hours over there on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So I appreciate anyone who is also a subscriber over there. And we're gonna try to get some of the subscribers over there to come over here because we're always having a good time every Tuesday with me and Rick, every Monday with the Lost in the Mid Card crew.
Yes, sir.
Some good stuff.
And don't forget those exclusive interviews that I'm still working on, and hopefully we'll have more for you guys here shortly. Before we get into everything, got to thank our friends over at Bet Online. We would not be here right now without them. It is a Texas showdown in the postseason, and Bet Online is your number one source for all your baseball wagering information with up to the minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, totals for the NFL and college football at your fingertips. Also, you got the NBA that's getting ready to start up here, SP3. Does the NBA even have an off season? I feel like the finals just ended and we're getting ready to start the next season. Like, this, mind-boggling to me.
It's never over. The NBA is ever continuous, like WWE. There is no off season. I mean, we did have a couple of off weeks. We've had a couple of, we had a lull before the Damian Lillard trade. Now we've had a lull after the Damian Lillard trade, and now next week the season starts. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like when the Super Bowl ends, I feel like it's 800 years until the first, like, we're actually like in NFL season and it kicks off again. Like, it felt like 5 minutes from the end of the NBA season to, oh, we're tipping off this. What? The NHL's already going on right now, for crying out loud.
It's because with the NBA, when the season ends, a week later is the NBA draft.
Yeah.
A week after that is free agency. Then you have teams kind of do stuff for like the next 2 weeks with free agency. Then there's trades. Then already we're into training camp. And we already started going into the NBA never ends.
Well, BetOnline has all the information you need on the NBA this season. I'm sure some odds changed after that Damian Lillard trade for sure. They got everything up to date for you from the League Championship Series all the way through the World Series, of course, NFL, college football. It's all there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device. Get in on the action. Don't forget to use our promo code Bleav, that is BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. And to answer your question, Ozzy, because this was weird last night, for only the third time in his 26-year career, Michael Cole missed a show. According to Sean Rossap, Fightful.com, and also PW Insider, they were both on this last night. Michael Cole, for whatever it was, we don't know. He had a prior personal commitment. He was always slated to take this show off. It just so happened that it was the season premiere that he happened to miss this time around, and Michael Cole was missed last night. I didn't think Kevin Patrick did a bad job last night, but Michael Cole was missed last night. It felt like he needed to be there for this one. It's unfortunate he wasn't, that the timing just worked out this way, but Michael Cole will be back next week. But man, still though, 3 shows in 26 years. That man is committed, like you read about. Holy
hustle, loyalty, respect.
Whoa, all of it. We appreciate you, Michael. I'm glad that man, like, one of the best things about going to live shows is watching Michael Cole get introduced or come out and the crowd start chanting Michael Cole and, just like giving that man his flowers. The fact that Michael Cole, especially since Vince kind of, went away and isn't screaming in his ear and he doesn't have to do the stereotypical Vince BS on commentary, and people are starting to realize how great that he is. That's been one of the best things about this new era of WWE for me, is Michael Cole getting his flowers for sure.
I said it a lot last year, and I haven't said it a lot this year, but I've always felt like when Triple H got into power, he was doing better with transforming or evolving or turning people back into what they were previously with the people that were already there instead of all the people that he signed, which, I mean, outside of Johnny Gargano, yeah. The Triple H signings that he did last year did not work out. It was all the people that he let go back to what they were, or let them be them a little bit more, or just, get off the Vince restraints. And Michael Cole, I think, is one of the bigger success stories of that. And we've really been seeing kind of like the John Cena US championship run of Michael Cole. Like when people finally started appreciating John Cena was that US title run in 2015. We're seeing that from Michael Cole since Triple H has gotten into control.
Well, and we're going to get to see a lot more of what Triple H has up his sleeve in the weeks. You can already see the change that is coming through over the last few weeks. I mean, heck, look at the women's division on Monday Night Raw. I think last week it was 16 different women. I think this week they had every single active woman on the show with the addition of Nikki Cross and Zoe Stark now back this week. So now literally the only women who weren't on the show last night are the ones who are either pregnant or legitimately injured. Those were the only 3 that weren't on the show last night. So we're starting to see little subtle storylines pick up there for the entire women's division. We have a big fatal 5-way that we're going to talk about here coming up. You're seeing people like Cameron Grimes and Johnny Gargano return to television, right? At least, you know, I know people want to nitpick about Johnny Gargano losing last night in his first match back, but that actually made some sense from a storyline standpoint, considering Ciampa was still out. So I'm gonna play it patient here, but over the last several months, SP3, it's kind of been hard. It had to have been hard for Triple H to get what he wants accomplished when he's constantly having to fight back against this wave that is Vince McMahon going, nah, let's not do that. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. I want to change this up last minute. Well, now, thanks to Ari Emanuel, according to several sources, Ari has said, look, Vince, Triple H can't do his job if you are constantly poking your nose in. So I want you to focus on TV rights deals for USA, for Raw and NXT. Now that SmackDown is on USA, and that's it. Stay the hell away from Triple H and his creative, and that you're already starting to see the ripple effects of this SP3. And I think it starts at the very tippy top with the WrestleMania 40 main event, because it was not that long ago. We had The Rock coming out on College Game Day, going out there talking to Pat McAfee, saying, hey, I'm open for business for WrestleMania 40. I'm open to facing Roman Reigns. You brought it up on Redacted this week, and I think you hit the nail on the absolute head. The Rock versus Roman Reigns is Vince McMahon's WrestleMania main event. This Friday, past Friday on SmackDown, we saw the stare down that many Cody Rhodes fans have been waiting 6 months for. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, face-to-face, staring each other down. The head of the table returning this past Friday and set a lot of things in motion, including last night's main event, which we'll get to on Monday Night Raw. But they're not doing this by accident. This match is happening. This is going down. What that means for LA Knight, I don't know. We'll get to. He seems to be next up, obviously, with everything that's going on there, which I'm not mad at. But this seems to be, at least right now, because you never know. Vince is a cockroach. You can't get rid of him. He might come back. Things might completely change. So everything is very fluid, all right? We're not saying it's locked in, but they're doing this stare down. Last night, you had Jimmy Uso cost him and Jay the tag team title, so it looks like we're starting to steer towards Uso versus Uso at WrestleMania, which I think would have happened if Vince was, still poking around anyway. But all of a sudden, Cody is now clearly back on the path to finishing his story. And whether that's a good move or not for Triple H to make, I still respect him for making it, because if you're talking about setting up the future for success, Cody Rhodes is a guy that you can anoint as the next big top-level babyface. Many thought should have happened at WrestleMania 39. So I understand this move, even if maybe the bigger match, SP3, that he could put on would be The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's the bigger money matchup. That's the match that's going to get more eyes on WrestleMania, but that's not the story that has been being told. Like I said on this show, on every single platform that I appeared on the road to WrestleMania 39, that it just felt too easy for Cody Rhodes, and that it would make more sense if he lost at WrestleMania 39. I got swept up in the build, and WWE convinced me that Cody was going to win, only for him to lose, which is pretty much what I wanted in the end. So I got what I wanted in the end, but they have been slowly telling this story. Cody, getting through Brock Lesnar, kind of spinning his wheels for a month while he got back into things with the Judgment Day, as he's kind of like feuded with the Judgment Day ever since like January. I was remembering today. I was like, just ever since he came back at the Royal Rumble, he's pretty much interacted with the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So, but taking the titles off of them, I think is a further step to putting Cody back on his path to finishing the story and probably being the number one entrant in the Royal Rumble and winning the Royal Rumble to go on to WrestleMania 40 and to face Roman Reigns. And they are pretty much, I think, going to do what CM Punk would hate. And it's lucky that they have decided not to bring in CM Punk, because I think they're going to do the Rocky 2 story. They're going to do Cody Rhodes as Rocky and Roman Reigns as Apollo Creed. And if people don't remember Rocky 1, Rocky did not win in Rocky 1.
No, he did not.
So Rocky, this is the Rocky 2 story in Philadelphia, in the home of Rocky.
Oh my God, it's so damn perfect. This is totally what Triple H is doing.
It's totally what Triple H is doing right now. And I see it. Like I said, when they had that stare down on SmackDown, I was like, this was WWE with their damn here. Okay, you can have the match. You can have it. But I also see the story that is coming before our eyes. And I see the fact that a lot of WWE programming, especially with these season premieres, have been about setting the road for WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
It's been about setting up matches or teasing matches, and matches that we have said for months, for a year, that's what they're going. Like on Raw, Rhea and Becky Lynch going face to face, or Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair going face to face on SmackDown, or Jimmy and Jay on the opposite side on SmackDown. These are all the matches that they have been building to this whole time, and it's just very nice that WWE, it's actually coherent, it actually makes sense, and everything is falling into place, and it's actually episodic television because you don't know how it's going to develop, but you are seeing we know what road we are on. We are on the road to WrestleMania already in October, and that's a nice change of pace from the days of only WrestleMania season really starting in January and the build for everything only starting in January. We're already starting it, and we're not even done with 2023. So the Cody and Roman, I think Triple H has always had this as his idea. We heard the reports back all the way back from after Cody lost at WrestleMania 39. This was always the plan. So I think that, the SI report, I think that WWE was also behind that. Like we said about the CM Punk reports last week, WWE made sure that was got out. I think when it's Sports Illustrated, that big of an outlet, WWE made sure this got out too. That The Rock is not being considered for WrestleMania 40.
Justin Barrasso is not a quantity reporter, but he is a quality reporter. So when he has scoops, you listen, right? Because he doesn't get as many at bats as a Sean Rossap, but his batting average is just as good, just Hall of Fame level as Sean Rossap from Fightful.com. So yeah, and here's the other thing, like the report from SI says that The Rock, it's not in his court, and even if it's offered to him, there's no damn guarantee that he's gonna be able to do it. And look, that the whole piece that Justin talked into is like, it was a decade ago that the filming of Hercules was almost ruined because literally this man's guts started spilling through his abdominal wall. That's not a hyperbolic statement at all. That's literally what happened. The man's intestines started spewing through a hole in his abdomen. And he almost screwed up his filming for that god-awful Hercules movie. So whatever projects he's going to have going on in April, like, he ain't going to jeopardize that by coming in and wrestling. So unless this actor's strike stretches on for a year, he's not going to be available. So I like the pivot back to Cody Rhodes. I would understand it either way. And I think there are other options for Cody Rhodes that you could have gone down. I think if he can come back and he can be healthy, and fingers crossed we see him again soon, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton would have been a hell of a WrestleMania program and a hell of a WrestleMania build. I'm still hoping we get, Randy Orton back in some way, shape, or form, and we'll see what he's got coming up at WrestleMania. But it's going to be very interesting for a lot of these people. A lot of the people that they have, kind of floating around, the LA Knights of the world, which we'll talk about once we get to the 5 count, what's going to be up for him. Right now, we know he's got a date with Roman Reigns. It appears at Crown Jewel.
I think they're already setting that up too, guys.
We'll talk about it.
You want me to spoil it for you? You want me to tell y'all what's going to happen? I'll tell y'all what's going to happen. I am officially the wrestling Negro Domus. And I know we're probably going to bring it up, but I'll just say it right now. Roman beats LA Knight at Crown Jewel. LA Knight maybe in like the War Games, but come Royal Rumble, Logan Paul is going to eliminate LA Knight. Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the US title at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, probably.
Logan Paul's beating Rey Mysterio for the US title at Crown Jewel.
Frantic World. So why did Cody and Jay win the WWE Tag Team titles if they were going to give them right back to Judgment Day? One, I think it made a otherwise predictable pay-per-view a little more unpredictable. It was a nice, surprising little moment. I'm not mad at it because it gave us one of the best press conferences. No, excuse me, scratch that. The best press conference in WWE history so far. That moment there. But this is all about the setup for Jimmy and Jay. This was all about bringing Roman back. This is why they had a title match against A-Town Down Under on Friday. They gave him one successful title defense at the very least. Then they came back and you're thinking, okay, it's the premiere. They're in the main event. They're going to finish this thing off with Judgment Day. Everything is going to be hunky-dory. They're going to continue to hold on the titles. The second that Cody Rhodes went through that table last night, I knew they were losing the match because that effectively took Cody completely out.
Do you not remember? I literally said this on Friday. I literally said this on Redacted that I was like, the fact that Cody and Jay had that title defense on SmackDown, I was like, I'm worried. I'm worried for this Monday. I'm worried for this Monday because I like this team, but I legitimately thought that this was a possibility and everything makes sense. So I'm totally fine with it playing hot potato because Cody can say, oh, I teamed up with Jey Uso once and we won tag team gold. And then they made that the kind of the story of Jay coming in and how Kevin and Sammy fought so hard to get the titles off of Jay. And that became the story for last week's main event. And then they already set up Judgment Day. They were able to get the title defense. And then the Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso sets up Jimmy being the reason to cost Cody and Jay the titles because Roman doesn't want Cody and Jay on his show, so he's like, get those titles off of them.
Disrespectful to the family,
to the bloodline. It's basically him gaslighting him into doing this again, into betraying his brother again. So everything makes sense. I mean, the only things that need work right now with as far as the Jimmy and Jay program is that Jimmy Uso comes off like a joke. He comes off like a loser. He comes off like a pest. And they have done nothing to build credibility for him other than him interfering and costing Jay stuff. But it's just like, there's no one that believes that Jimmy can beat Jay one-on-one at this point. Like, Jey Uso is just so far ahead of Jimmy and Solo, I feel like has stagnated a lot since like the spring. He has stagnated a lot. And then his work in the ring, especially that LA Knight matchup with the nerve holds, I was like, this is not the progression that I really needed. They need to work on individually Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso out of this whole thing, because when Roman's not there, they are just fucking Frankie Sicoli and Joey from Boy Meets World.
They're kids. They're children.
No, they're the fucking lackeys. They're the lackeys for Harley Kiner. They're the lackeys that they have no purpose to be here other than to serve the higher power that is Harley Kiner, or AKA Roman Reigns.
The other thing that this does is it continues to set up, and this is something that we've talked about, War Games. For whatever the upcoming War Games match is going to be with Rhea Ripley and Paul Heyman making deals with one another, you can almost take it to the bank that one of those teams is going to be Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and the tag team champions. Probably
it's gonna be Judgment Day, Judgment Bloodline. I keep telling y'all who it is.
That's what
you don't even need Roman, but you don't need Roman. You don't need Roman for that. It's War Games. War Games sells itself. You don't need Roman in War Games. Why would Roman want to be in War Games again? He did that last year. He did that. Been there, done that. They're building this whole thing around the Judgment Day. And really, like, after watching last night's main event, I was just like, man, Judgment Day has basically mastered this attitude era, distraction, interference, wild main event, tag team, multi-person type of thing that the Bloodline reintroduced to WWE last year. Like, that's all they have done this year, and it always is a great matchup, so you don't need Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has this big title match at Crown Jewel, then he could take off the rest of the year or come back for the holiday sweeps like they did last year.
Yeah, that's true.
He took a month off and then he came back for the holiday sweeps.
Yeah, so you get Dom inside, and that'll get some nuclear heat. But regardless, however you got to set it up, Bloodline, you got 5 options. I think 5-on-5 for War Games this year. I just know that there's 2 people that absolutely needs to be involved on the other team, because something that I was very, very happy about, and this is something that you called from jump when I brought this up as a question when Jey Uso was first traded over to Monday Night Raw. Finally, we figured out what the trade compensation was for Jey Uso this past Friday when Nick Aldis was introduced as the new general manager of Friday Night SmackDown, a move that I love for a myriad of reasons. I'm not going to get into all of them here, but the fact that now Adam Pearce can be on one show instead of both, right? Like we saw last night, he's on the horn on the phone after the Miz was talking shit about him in his promo. I feel like the Miz is getting traded over to Friday Night SmackDown. It may have already happened. I might have missed something, but I feel like Adam Pearce was like, all right, screw you, Miz. I'm going to call up Nick Aldis real quick. I'm going to trade your ass. I might sell you for literally nothing. I'm going to send your ass over to Friday Night SmackDown. So I love that is going to create that kind of a dynamic. It's going to give it more of a competitive type feel between the two. And this move was perfect. Nick Aldis, the first thing he does is bring Kevin Owens over to finish that trade, because in a storyline standpoint, it seems like WWE outside of it is just dragging their feet on this, thinking maybe, they'll do the old WWE routine of, they'll just forget that we ever said that and whatever. None of this is going to matter. But he actually came in. He's now competing with Adam Pearce, and he struck a deal to get Kevin Owens on his show because he wants SmackDown to be the bigger, superior brand. And that is, at this point, equal compensation for a main event Jey Uso is bringing over a Kevin Owens. And I love this for another reason, outside of now adding a GM. I love the fact, and we talked about this when you first brought up Kevin Owens as the guy who it should be, because the first person who welcomed Jey Uso to Monday Night Raw with open arms was Sami Zayn. And he warned him. He's like, look, there's going to be people on this brand that they're not going to like you. All right. You're going to upset some people. You're going to upset the apple cart around here. And you're going to have to work hard to earn back their friendship and their trust and show that you have changed after years of roaming around with Roman Reigns. And his mere presence on the show just cost Sami Zayn his tag team partner and his best friend. And I was hoping exactly what we saw on Monday Night Raw was what was going to play out. And you saw Sami immediately vent his frustrations, almost verbatim what we were talking about. But at the end of it, he's like, no, all right, I'm going to be the bigger person. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to chill the hell out. You're right. We're still friends. I still got your back. You still have mine. Everything is fine. He went and tried to help Cody and Jey retain the tag team titles in the main event, although unsuccessfully. SP3. Oh, baby. I know exactly where this is going, because he opened up the show, Sami Zayn did, by saying, I'm now excited. I'm on my own 2 feet. I am here to show the world that I am a world heavyweight championship contending superstar. Something along those lines. Well, for that to happen, you need to be a heel, Sami Zayn, because Seth Rollins is the world heavyweight championship holder right now. I'm telling you, SP3, he's going to Dakota Kai on Jey Uso's ass inside Survivor Series, inside War Games. He is going to turn on Jey Uso. He's finally going to get pent up. He's finally going to get pissed off enough that his frustrations and his jealousy and his contempt that he holds for Jey Uso now is going to boil over, and we are going to get Sami Zayn smacking Jey Uso across the back with a steel chair, and he is going to fall over across the middle rope a la Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble last year, and it is going to be chef's kiss poetic as Sami Zayn turns heel on Jey Uso at Survivor Series, and I cannot wait. And I hope what that does is, 1, it sets up one-on-one Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso at the Royal Rumble, but 2, it sets up Sami Zayn as the potential world title challenger, maybe come WrestleMania season, him and Seth Rollins at Mania. Possibly, potentially, who knows? Who knows? We'll see where it goes, right? Like, he's got to get white hot. He's got to get hot again, but maybe he can get hot as a heel. We'll see. But I like this. There's a lot to like here, and I really hope that that's the rabbit hole we're going down here.
I don't like that idea at all.
Okay.
Sami Zayn is one of the biggest baby faces in WWE. and you're telling me you can't go a fucking year with him as a babyface? Like that just tells me that this is not a very creative in my opinion. That just
I
reads
mean,
wrong.
to be
I
fair,
like
Jey
him
Uso's
being
also one of your most over baby faces right now.
yeah. They all are very over baby faces, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. That is a good problem to have. You don't need to turn every one of these baby faces heel, especially when you have someone like Drew McIntyre, where that makes a lot more sense with. But as far as like this situation with how this trade has played out, I love the dynamic that it created between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, and I think that that's going to be more of an ongoing story. I also love the interaction Sami Zayn had with Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre instantly gave us the very first Seth Rollins feels like a world champion segment that we've had in 6 months of him being champion. Ozzy, I need to test the drugs you are smoking when you say that's why Seth is a true champion in WWE. My ass. My ass.
See, I told you
He
you'd
has
find
been
something. I told you
he
you'd find
has
something to complain
been
about.
the most secondary world champion this company has seen since Jack Swagger cashed in Money in the Bank. Yes.
Damn.
Yes. It's
Damn.
it's been that much of a drop of how we all expected it to be and how it's turned out. But last night was a stark difference because he felt like a main eventer. He wasn't doing the ha ha sing my song Finn Balor feud. He wasn't doing the ha ha sing my song oh now my back hurts bullshit he was doing with Nakamura. He was an actual 3-dimensional character who called Drew out on his crap, who Drew came back at him, and I was like, I don't know who's right. Both of y'all are right. I was like, everybody's right in this situation. And then Drew had his interaction with Sammy, and I was like, oh, both of them are always right. I was like, these are all main event characters. It didn't matter if they were heel or babyface.
Sure.
It's cool to have these 3-dimensional characters that we've been getting on Monday Night Raw, and it leads the narrative. And I also think that the finish of the night with Judgment Day winning plays into all of this in the fact that the babyface side of things now it's out of balance. They were outnumbered. The babyface side was outnumbered because KO is over there. He's on SmackDown now. But I think War Games is where they get one last hurrah of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So I don't think that's the right time for Sami to turn on Jay because he's really turning on Kevin at the same time. And it's just like, you just did that last year. You just did Sami Zayn turns on his friend last year. So don't repeat the same thing. I think that the reason that we keep getting Damian Priest harping on the fact that he wants revenge on Drew McIntyre is that is how we get Drew in here to have his Dakota Kai moment on Cody. And then Cody keeps himself busy for the next 2 months before we get to Royal Rumble.
Okay. Yeah.
And Sammy and Jay can be a tag team now. That's the whole thing. That's where the whole play of their relationship can play out. It doesn't need to be Sammy turns on Jay. It's how they're going to coexist as tag team now, because I think we're going to get more title changes with these tag team titles. I think we are full on attitude era with these tag team titles right now.
Do you, Ace bringing up, do you think that Nick Aldis will strip the SmackDown tag team titles from Finn and Damian? I'll say this, but I think they need to be split up now at this point. You have enough tag teams who are just kind of chilling, waiting around for these titles to get out of, you know, the whole bloodline, or excuse me, Judgment Day, bloodline, Cody Rhodes, you know, mix these guys in. Like, they have been mixed around and passed around the same group of guys. And you have teams like the New Day who are just chilling there right now. The Viking Raiders who are chilling right now. By the way, I mean, I know one half of the Viking Raiders is hurt right now, but Ivar's doing some of the best ring work that he's done in WWE, period. So he's on a heater, at least at the moment. You've got the Street Profits that you got to do something with. I still like A-Town Down Under, even though they lost the match this past Friday. You have Pretty Deadly, who's now back in the fold. So you can build them up as well. There's a lot to like. There's some depth in this tag team division that's just waiting for something. Now I'm okay with a split. Like, let's go. We got 2 different teams. Why not have 2 different titles? It's either you need to split them up, or please, for the love of God, can we get some new, Thank you, DIY. Thank you, DIY. Eventually, I think that'll happen, but DIY does need a tag team title run. Hey, they got a shirt, baby. They got a shirt. If I had money, I'd buy that shirt, but they finally got a shirt, so they're on the right track here. They either need to split up those damn tag team titles or give Judgment Day new tag team title belts with purple backings for a myriad of reasons. Those old belts need upgraded big time. I'll say that on that much. But
I'm just gonna say this, Ozzy. You're saying Seth works, has champions. That's why you think that he's the true champion. He works. I'm sorry. I hate to tell you this, but if you're on a team and say the team is the Los Angeles Lakers of the 2000s, and Smush Parker plays 82 games in the regular season, but Kobe only plays 65. I'll let you know. Smush Parker, just because he works so much, should not be the champion and the best player on the team because he worked more games than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, because of how he plays and how he is presented, is the better player on the team. So if Roman Reigns, it doesn't matter if Roman Reigns has 2 defenses, wrestles 1 time, 3 times, 4 times in a year, and Seth Rollins wrestles 400 times, Roman Reigns is the true champion and the top guy in WWE.
Look, when Roman Reigns comes back on television, the entire landscape of WWE changes. That's the big difference. Roman Reigns comes back and everything that was going on from a storyline standpoint suddenly starts moving. He is the rudder for a ship out in the middle of the ocean. And sometimes when he ain't there, it's like, guess what? The rudder ain't working. We ain't fucking going anywhere. That's where Roman Reigns is right now in his career. And yes, a lot of that has to do with why or with how WWE presents him and books him. Seth Rollins, he's not getting the main event segments more often than not. This is why I was stunned that Rollins and Nakamura main evented Fastlane and why I was assuming we were getting a title change, because that was not a main event on any Monday Night Raw program. Period. End of story. And then all of a sudden it was the main event of Fastlane. Great match. Love the work that Nakamura is doing. I thought he and Ricochet tore the house down last night. Like, I love the work that Shinsuke Nakamura is doing right now. But yeah, they were never the main event. It was always Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins.
Now he's finally back into the main event because he's in the actual top program, because all these top programs have been going on and they're interwoven. The whole slow burn Drew McIntyre heel turn, the Judgment Day, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso. These are all interwoven, and Seth was over here in the Sethverse against Sensei Nakamura. He briefly got into the Judgment Day verse, but he messed that up by being, ha ha, sing my song, like a freaking clown. It was like, no, I didn't. No, that last night, that was the Seth Rollins I want. That's the Seth Rollins I want to be the world champion. Then I can start taking him seriously.
We have 2 matches at Crown Jewel right now that are official. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre for the Men's World Heavyweight Championship. And now we know that the Women's World Heavyweight Championship is going to be defended in a fatal 5-way SP3. I think this match is going to be hella good. I do think Rhea Ripley right now is still defending a championship against one woman who is universally hated by almost everybody in Nia Jax, and then 3 others who are... I'm sorry?
Not me. I don't hate Nia Jax.
Okay. Almost universally hated by everybody, right? Like 99.9% of the people hate Nia Jax. And then 3 others who are still in the process of getting over at varying different spots. So it's going to be interesting to see how this match goes over in front of a live crowd and how the build is going to continue to, build as we head toward Crown Jewel. We're only a few weeks away at this point. But I love this fatal 5-way setup. I think this match is going to be great. I love Zoe Stark coming back last night and kind of standing tall as this scrappy fighter and honestly, what was a ring of giants as far as the women's division is concerned. And she was the one who was standing tall at the end. I like that a lot. Zoe Stark has been one of the biggest draft winners that WWE has presented over the summer. She is spectacular, and you can tell she's really starting to get into her comfort zone, especially when she gets a chance on the microphone. So I'm looking forward to this a lot. I am surprised, though, that we're getting all of this thrown together at once, because this feels like, hey, here's several months for Rhea Ripley that they're throwing together right here at Crown Jewel SP3.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like that, but I do like how this match has been built. And I think that this is a match that Rhea Ripley really needs because once again, going to be the guy who wants to say something that probably not a lot of people want to say, but Rhea Ripley really hasn't had a match, like a match that we can remember. Her most memorable match of this entire reign was a Natalya TV match on a random episode of Raw. That was the best match. That's the best match he's had as WWE Women's World Champion. Like the Raquel Rodriguez matches aren't that memorable. The Natalya match at Night of Champions was what, 6 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it was. Zelina Vega was memorable for her,
yeah,
not for the match. So like, yeah, we have to really kind of get down to the brass tacks of why is that when Rhea Ripley feels like she's one of the hottest stars in WWE, why is it that we can't ever have like a great memorable match, or like this reign does not feel like how I thought it would be when she won the championship at WrestleMania. So I think that this matchup is going to help her out a lot. I think having Nia Jackson there is very, very helpful. Nia Jackson is someone that's gonna get a reaction from these fans.
Oh my God.
I can't say that from anyone else in this matchup. And I am saying that as a big Shayna Baszler fan who watched last night's Rhea Ripley matchup. And I was like, I'm making more noise at home than these people are in Oklahoma or wherever the hell they were. Like they were quiet during that matchup. They were quiet during the payback match with Raquel. They were quiet during that Raw match with Raquel. Like, why is it like, it's like what Dom was going through a couple of months back, where people always respond to Judgment Day when they're talking or they're in a segment or in an angle. But once the bell rings, it was like Dom was not getting the same response he did when he was just talking. Now he's kind of gotten better, he's improved, and he's able to get that same reaction. And now it seems that Rhea's having that problem where she's very, very popular. She always gets a reaction when she comes out, when her music hits. But when the bell rings, it seems like these fans are just sitting on their hands.
So they don't have a Batman they're invested in. They have the Joker that they love, this iconic heel character, right? The bad guy, the bad girl, mommy. They love her. They're not invested in anybody else on the women's roster, which is an indictment on how that women's roster has been booked for the last several months, ever since they put the title on Rhea Ripley. Like, they've had Becky Lynch, the only other woman who's over on that roster, busy.
And they're like, we're gonna keep you. This is like some Tony Khan booking. This is how Tony Khan be booking. Like, we're gonna keep you way over here.
Yes. Hey, WrestleMania, stay back. All right, y'all. Every 3 months. Every 3 months.
Every 3 months, y'all run into each other in the locker room.
Yeah, you run into each other at the water cooler. That's it. That's all y'all are allowed. And then at WrestleMania season, y'all can throw down. And everybody's gonna lose their mind, and we're gonna get rave reviews for how we booked this women's division. But from Mania to Mania, look, I truly believe this, right? I feel like Triple H knows that he needed to do some work with the women's division, but I don't think he was allowed to do work with the women's division. And I think it was case in point when Becky and Triple H wanted to put Tegan on Raw, and then there was a kibosh that said, no, we're pulling it.
I really feel like that's the turning point. I really feel like that's either when Ari Emanuel was like, all right, Vince, you got to start interfering, or Triple H went to Ari and was like, how do you expect me to do my job if he keeps interfering? But I really feel that whole Tegan Knox being pulled from that episode of Raw is the turning point in the whole creative process.
I do not believe for 1 second that it's a coincidence that this news breaks about Vince, and all of a sudden every single female on Raw is on Raw. Women we haven't seen, people we forgot were even signed to the damn roster. They're not all like immediately having these like banger matches, but just little nibbles, little crumbs, little storylines. Hell, Indy Hartwell is going to have a match for the NXT Women's Championship next week on Raw. Jesus, Xia Li is going to get a match at some point, even if her exchange with Becky Lynch didn't make a damn bit of sense last night, right? None whatsoever. I'm wondering if that was a like a language barrier issue. I don't know, right? But like, regardless, women we forgot existed are on the show now. And I have to feel like Triple H has been wanting to do this, knowing he needed to do some work, but Vince just wasn't letting him. So now it's happening. So again, it's going to be kind of a slow thing here, but hopefully some of these women can start to catch fire. Fans will start to realize how awesome they are, because that roster is so deep. It's so deep. But yeah, just nobody's invested in any of them right now. And that is a complete indictment on the creative process. And that includes Vince McMahon. And I'm hopeful, and I want to believe, now that Vince is out for right now, things are going to improve. And we've already seen some subtle improvement. One thing that I have loved about one thing that I have loved SP3, I do love SP3 as well, but I've loved about the women's division is how they have introduced Jade Cargill to the WWE universe. Let's dive into this.
It's time to answer the 5 count on the Bleav Podcast Network.
I talked about this on multiple platforms. I can't remember if I mentioned it on this show last week or not. I know we were jam-packed, but when they had Jade Cargill come out of the car and they showed that on the screen in Indianapolis at Fastlane, pretty much the entire section of gentlemen around me had no clue who she was. Genuinely had no clue. I thought at first they were being funny, facetious, like doing the Snoop Dogg. Like one guy literally did the, who? Who is that? And I thought he was just being an asshole. And then I looked at him and I'm like, are you genuinely asking? And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, oh, Jade Cargill. She was in AEW. She was like a really big thing over there. And he's like, oh, and he turned around. She's from AEW. No clue who this woman was. And there's going to be a large portion of the WWE audience who has no clue who this woman is. So this is why I love what WWE is doing for multiple reasons. One, it's a nice little sprinkling. You have her walk out of an Uber or a car, or whatever she arrives in, looking the way that she does. She's an attraction. It's going to get people going, okay, I don't know her, but I want to know her. I'm going to Google her. I'm going to try to find out, get familiar with myself. Keep teasing her. Get the audience asking, well, when's this woman going to debut? When are we going to see what she's all about? And I love for the fact, SP3, that she has now been on every program now that she was officially on Monday Night Raw. She has gone face-to-face with Charlotte Flair on Friday. She went face-to-face with Becky Lynch on Friday, with Becky Lynch saying, get in line. And both Charlotte and Becky had these little quips that they threw at Jade Cargill, SP3, but they weren't like dismissive. You could see it on their faces. They're like, oh, you're a threat. You're a challenge. I know this. That's also going to go a long way with introducing her to the WWE audience. And it's going to keep us guessing, SP3, where on God's green earth is Jade Cargill actually going to start her WWE career? Is it NXT? Is it Raw? Is it SmackDown? Where do you think?
Now I do think it's going to be Raw, and I kind of see the setup that they're doing here. That's why you do all these segments to introduce the Raw roster, because we're introducing all of Jade Cargill's potential victims. Like, this is we're introducing all the females that Jade Cargill will wipe through before she is eventually put into the main event scene. So I think that Raw seems like the best place that she's going to start her WWE career, and how the NXT Women's Championship is playing as the mid-card women's title on Raw. I think we could still get my scenario of Jade beating Becky.
Yeah, I would love to see some kind of a situation play out where, again, I said friendly competition, right? Between the GMs of Raw and SmackDown. Why not have the first competition be, okay, who's going to be able to sign Jade Cargill? Who's going to be able to bring Jade Cargill and acquire her services over to the brand, and have kind of like a bidding war going on between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis for Jade. And ultimately, she can make her decision based off of who makes her the best offer. But I think that would be a nice little storyline to mix her in with. Maybe you give her a couple of squash matches against some enhancement talent, let her show off what she does best. I know that's what we have seen her do and got sick of seeing her do in AEW. But I think give the audience a nibble, right? Figure out what her presentation is, what her entrance is going to be, what her music is going to be, what her look is going to be. Give us that show, and then have her squash some local talent and really whet our appetites and whet the audience's appetite that doesn't know who she is and what she's about and what she can do, and then get this bidding war process started and just build her up like a big effing deal. Big effing deal. I loved even what your girl Thunder Rosa said on Busted Open. She was like, look, if I was going to go from point A to point B, that's how I would want to be treated when I show up. They are doing a great job with Jade Cargill. Ultimately, I just get this hunch. I get this feeling she's going to beat Becky for the NXT championship, and she's going to be in NXT to start off. But it's a great little introduction here with where they're going for each brand. Brought it up earlier. You laid out a nice little scenario there. I'm not necessarily mad at it. But is there any concerns for the direction of LA Knight if, and let's be honest, when he loses to Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel? I thought this past Friday was a great next step in the elevation of LA Knight, because this was an eyeball test for LA, right? You get him out there with John Cena and Roman Reigns, and he fit the bill. He did not look out of place. He handled himself perfectly in that situation. I cannot wait to see longer verbal barbs between Roman Reigns and LA Knight, because they are two of the best talkers on Friday night. Didn't think I'd say that about Roman Reigns 5 years ago, but here we are. He is one of the best on the microphone, and we know LA Knight can handle himself. So the promo exchanges between these two to build up this match is going to be great. But the fact that he's getting this match now means he's not winning, SP3. Your question is always, and then what? Great. He's getting this program with Roman Reigns. He's going to get this match at Crown Jewel. He's going to lose.
Yep.
And then what? You think it's going to be Logan Paul in the United States Championship?
I think that LA Knight will be the fifth man on the babyface team against Judgment Bloodline, because the Bloodline will be involved in some way, some form, some fashion. If it's not Drew, it's LA Knight that's going to be in this War Games matchup. So he's still going to be involved in the top program, or still be feuding with the Bloodline in some form or fashion coming out of Crown Jewel. And then Royal Rumble will start his program with Logan Paul, and it just makes all the sense in the world. As soon as I heard Logan Paul was challenging Rey Mysterio, I was like, okay, so Logan Paul's going to win the U.S. Championship, but then what? That was my question. And then I thought about, oh, they did all this setup before Money in the Bank. All the interactions that they did with LA Knight and Logan Paul. All of that. Like, I was like, yeah, they set it up. They already set this up. This is Triple H booking. Oh my God. It came together. LA Knight and Logan Paul, because I said that. I think I said this months ago, either here or Sportskeeda or True Hill E. I don't know. But I was like, LA Knight's going to lose to Roman Reigns, and then he's going to win the U.S. Championship, because what he needs for WWE is to win a mid-card title or to have a great match. I think he's going to have that great match with Roman Reigns, and then they're going to give him the mid-card title at WrestleMania against Logan Paul. So yes, I am 100% cool with Logan Paul returning to challenge and beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, so am I. I saw a lot of people just kind of rolling their eyes at this and hating this, the IWC, because they look at Logan Paul as, this part-timer who's not in love with the business. But if you can utilize this in a way, and I love your idea of setting up LA Knight to beat Logan Paul for the United States Championship, right? Like, this is the perfect end game to have LA finish his own story, his first initial story in WWE that he has been preaching since the freaking Royal Rumble this past year, was he's going to win gold in WWE. That's his end game. That's the finish to his story. It doesn't have to be Roman Reigns, the WWE Universal Championship at Crown Jewel. He's got to start first. He's got to win gold. And LA Knight has always been, he talked about it in the press scrum at Fastlane, he's always got people pushing him back. He's always fighting adversity. Like, I don't have any concerns. To answer question 2, I don't have concerns with LA Knight as far as his creative direction afterwards. They are going to have something for him. He's too hot right now. I don't have any concerns about any of the top baby faces heading into WrestleMania season. And which is another reason why I love the decision not to bring in The Rock, because that to me tells me Triple H is going to be rewarding the guys who are already over. These are the guys, the Cody Rhodes, the LA Knights, the Jey Usos, the Sami Zayns. These are the guys who are going to get the big spot at WrestleMania 40 because they've earned it. And I appreciate the hell out of that. So I have no concerns about LA Knight. And yeah, frankly, I'm cool with Logan Paul winning the United States Championship, because I feel like the United States title on Rey Mysterio, as much as I love Rey Mysterio, has not done anything for the United States title. It's just Rey Mysterio is here. He's the leader of the LWO. and he's got a belt now. That's it. Like there's no story, there's no nothing. They did the little thing with Santos Escobar. They've now wrestled multiple matches, which I think has kind of like hindered what could be one of their top matches at WrestleMania between Santos and Rey Mysterio. Like I really think they should have kept those guys apart from one another and had their first match be at WrestleMania. Instead, we've gotten it several different times now, so we'll see where that goes. But hell, even if you take the United States Championship off of them, you could still do Rey and Santos going for the tag team titles. If you split those up, there's another tag team. You got 2 tag teams, hell, within LWO. Plus, you got Carlito there now. So there's a lot that they could be doing there. Hell, you could sign me up for after Rey loses the title to Logan Paul, you could sign me up at the Royal Rumble for Carlito versus Logan Paul for the Intercontinental Championship. As far as I'm concerned, like there's a lot that you can do with this. Logan Paul's a great heel. He's a great bad guy. He's a schmarmy little shit, and you hate him. And the fact that he could be patrolling around out there with his millions of followers, flashing the United States Championship, that was the whole argument for why people wanted him to beat Roman Reigns when he fought him at Crown Jewel
people
last
wanted
year.
him to win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so you could parade around with a WWE hardware around his shoulder. You might as well put the prettiest damn championship belt in the company around his damn shoulder if he's going to win something. Roman is back now. I'm sorry, say that again.
It's called the Dipset piece title. That's the same thing Dipset used to wear on their belts. That's what they got on the U.S. title these days. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, it just makes sense for Logan Paul to be a heel champion at some point. Why not? Why not right now? And why not it end with LA Knight getting the big win? I think that is the way to finish the LA Knight story and the rise of LA Knight that we've seen over the past year.
Have we seen the Iron Claw trailer? A-Shock asks, yes, and it looks spectacular. Looks absolutely spectacular. I can't wait to see that when it drops in December. I'm gonna try to talk to somebody from the cast, but I need this damn actor strike to stop so I can talk to somebody from the freaking cast. I'd love to get Zac Efron on this channel. That dude got jacked.
I either want to talk to MJF or Lip from Shameless, because I have a whole bunch of Shameless questions for him.
There you go.
Or Parmy from The Bear.
And A-Shock with another question in the chat. It's almost like he read my damn mind. Last night, meat division matchup. Gunther versus Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental Championship. Another spectacular showing for Gunther. This man hit a power bomb on Bronson Reed. Are you freaking kidding me? The other thing I love with ease. The other thing I loved about this last night was the presentation of both Gunther and Ludwig, by the way. But the video package that they did for Gunther, where he's like clotheslining his opponents and kicking his opponents, and they got them going, like separating into the Thanos dust. That was such a nice little touch of what they did and how they're presenting Gunther. This man is on fire right now. Every single match he has with somebody, I feel like we come out saying it, that's the best match so-and-so has had in WWE. And again, I think you could say the same thing for Bronson Reed last night, who put on a great performance with Gunther. Gunther does not miss right now. This pissing contest that Gunther and Ilya Dragunov are having between one another is one of the best things going on in wrestling right now.
It's not even Gunther. I think it's Ilya is having a pissing contest with him. Gunther is thinking about the wider world of wrestling because, ladies and gentlemen, the 3 best wrestlers in the world this year are Gunther, Bryan Danielson, and Will Ospreay. Saturday, Bryan Danielson put on one of the best TV matches of the year, one of the best collision matches ever against Christian Cage for the TNT Championship. Sunday, also on Saturday, earlier in the day, Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. put on a match of the year candidate. And then you go over to Monday, and Gunther puts on this absolute banger with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's best match in WWE ever. Like, yeah, Gunther's competing with the best wrestlers in the world. He's done with being the best worker in WWE. He has that crown. He has it in his trophy case. Ilya Dragunov can try all he wants. He's going to have a lot of great matches to go up to Gunther. And to answer this question, who I think the big Austrian, who will dethrone the big Austrian? I mean, my heart is saying, like, Chad Gable has that story. Of course, in the back of my mind, there's someone like Sheamus, because they could honestly just bring Sheamus back and put him on Raw and have him go after it. But the top of my head is saying that all these top baby faces have their matches. Jey Uso has Jimmy, Cody has Roman, LA Knight has Logan Paul, Sami Zayn versus Gunther. I think Sammy is the one that dethrones Gunther.
Oof, man alive. Yeah, he's kind of the leftover one right now. Man, I just don't see the path back there. I haven't seen the evidence to suggest that that's the path that we're going to get to, right? I haven't seen that. I do feel like Gunther's going to be the IC champ heading into Mania. I don't think he's going to drop before then.
Yeah, I don't think so anymore. I thought they were going to have him drop the title and then go up to the heavyweight title scene, but that does not. Or they do champion versus champion at Mania.
Yeah, here's the only way they're going to do it if they do it before Mania. Multi-man match. If they book him in a multi-man match where somebody else can take the pin and maybe Giovanni Vinci screws up and, because whatever story they're trying to tell right now with them and Giovanni just being the redheaded stepchild of, even though he doesn't have hair, but he's the redheaded stepchild of Imperium right now and he can't do anything right even when he does do something right. It's interesting to me. I don't know where they're going with it, but he's still trying to earn like Gunther's trust right now. If he ends up screwing something up in a multi-man match, whether it's a ladder match or a fatal four-way where somebody else can get pinned, then they'll take the title off of Gunther. He ain't getting beat prior to WrestleMania. It's not happening. He's not getting beat for that IC title.
I could see him having individual title matches with Giovanni and Ludwig. The way they are telling this story, or maybe even a Johnny Gargano can get in there. But yeah, I mean, it's very much wide open at this point. It's not what it was 6 months ago. It's not what it was 2 months ago, because Chad Gable and Sheamus don't seem like they were in the running to dethrone Gunther anymore. So maybe it's going to be someone completely new that we're not talking about, or that they're just building right now. We don't know.
Yeah. I'm still
and I don't think it's any of those NXT guys, because those NXT guys feel like they're gonna be there in NXT for a while.
I still think it's gonna be Chad. I just get this feeling they keep bringing it up, like he's going after the Intercontinental title. That promo that he cut says he's gonna work his way back up. I don't think he's getting a rematch anytime soon.
He said he wants the tag team titles now,
but he said he wants the IC title too. He said he wanted both last night. So they're keeping it out there in the ether. I feel like he's the one that almost has to win it at this point. But we'll see.
I've always felt like Ilya Dragunov is the person that has to.
Yeah, there's that too.
And you need this story to be Ilya always beats Gunther for these long title reigns.
I mean, he's gonna hit 500 days. A week from today, Gunther's gonna hit 500 days as the Intercontinental Champion. He does not have a title defense on the docket thus far. So as of right now, he's going to coast to 500 days and may hit 600 days very easily.
Bronson Reed, like I said, he had his best match in WWE. He came up to the physicality, he came up to the level of Gunther, and showed why he can be a top guy in WWE if he ever got that push. So I have to give credit to Bronson Reed. Probably his best match that he's had since his series of matches with Kazuchika Okada.
Yeah, I love Bronson. Bronson is great. I love the promo that he cut too. Ahead of the match as well. That's a great presence.
Even though him doing these vignettes, and then Joe, it's like Joe does it so much better. Joe looks so much better in the suit and in the lounge. I'm sorry, I pop every time because I get the perfect picture. These badass pictures of Joe sipping on freaking whiskey, looking out into the sunset. It's like. Man, I much rather them just have Bronson Reed just in his wrestling gear at this point, because Joe, yeah, I'm gonna compare the two too much.
You could convince me, right, that Joe is the head of the cartel. Like what he's just effortlessly cool. This motherfucker doesn't have a care in the world. He knows he's got the money, he's got the power, he's got everything he wants. He comes up like he's Pablo frickin' Escobar in these damn things. You could convince me that I'm not watching a wrestling promo. I'm watching a dude who's talking to the FBI saying do something, or the DEA saying do something. You can't stop me. Samoa Joe is effortlessly cool as F. But I like what they're doing with Bronson Reed as well. SP3, are we getting a Sting retirement announcement on Wednesday? I hope not, because I love Sting, but I understand if he says it is time to hang it up. That is one of the big things that I forgot to put in the rundown here, so I'll bring it up. Thank you, MCAS, for bringing that up.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting the Sting retirement announcement. I think they might tease it, like that it's coming and that he is going to announce it soon, but I just don't see it happening there. I think that it is an opportunity for Christian Cage to interrupt and cause some mayhem, and maybe we get a setup for that 6-man tag they kind of been teasing for Full Gear.
Yeah, Christian Cage he's one of the best things going right now, if not the best thing going right now.
He's the best character in wrestling. You
Period.
cannot convince me otherwise. You cannot convince me otherwise. No.
It's him and Tony Storm right now. Top 2.
Yeah. Timeless Tony Storm. I can't wait for next blockbuster film.
There's a lot to look forward to for Dynamite tomorrow. There's a lot to look forward to on NXT tonight as well. I Bleav Cody Rhodes is going to be back. Cody Rhodes has another announcement tonight, SP3. Another big announcement tonight on NXT. Boy, they are milking the shit out of that, and I respect them for it. I really do.
I'm looking forward to the main event. Corbin, Dijak, and Mello.
Did you just say you were looking forward to a Baron Corbin match?
Yeah, because of the people that's in the match with him.
I was like,
there's two other people in the match with him.
Take your temperature.
Right.
Are you okay?
It's a WWE triple threat match, ladies and gentlemen. Corbin's gonna be sleeping on the floor for 10 minutes of this matchup. I am looking forward to Dijak versus Mello. Okay, does that make you feel better?
I'm just making sure you're all right. For a second, I thought you were giving my boy Corbin some respect.
No, because I'm so upset that he beat Braun Breaker at freaking No Mercy. Who thought that was a good idea?
You're gonna be even pissed, even more.
He's gonna
when
win.
He wins tonight.
I know he's gonna win tonight. I've accepted that. I'm fine with that.
Oh man, you know what I can't wait for? Before we get to this final question, I can't wait for Corbin to win this. And then I can't wait for Ilya Dragunov to get the best goddamn match out of Baron Corbin that anybody's ever seen. And you're finally going to have to admit that Baron Corbin had a good match in WWE.
I admitted he had a good match with Mello. Him and Mello had a really good matchup. That's the only really good matchup he's had since he's come to NXT.
You're going to have to admit he's had a great matchup when he's done with Ilya Dragunov.
We shall see. I think I gave Mello and Corbin like 4 stars, so that's considered great.
Proud of you. Look at you.
Yeah.
I think Baron Corbin's great. But anyway, all right, SP3. Tony Khan does a lot of tweeting. He does a lot of tweeting. He said a lot of things last week after the ratings came out, and he got blasted for it by a lot of people. I think the big one that caught everybody's eyes was the fact that he had to go out of his way to say that a streak has been broken, that less than 1 million people watched a show with The Undertaker and John Cena on it. Which, okay, I get what you're trying to do. I get what you're trying to say. But mother effer, you had Edge, Christian, and Bryan Danielson on a show that did 600,000. So you have to think about this on the opposite side of the spectrum. You knew somebody, you had to know people are going to eat your lunch for something like that, because that's an easy thing to look and go, dude, you lost to that show regardless. And I still think they had a great audience on a Tuesday night when they had to move over, considering the competition that they were going up against. I thought we talked about this last week. Both companies won, in our opinion. But Tony Khan, man, he gets this fire burn underneath him, and he's got to tweet stuff out. And sometimes he doesn't think ahead when he tweets. SP3, is it time for this man to put the phone down? Or at least, at the very least, give his social media accounts to somebody else and just tweet out some previews?
Tweet forever. Tweet forever. Tweet forever. I consider it a bit or a gimmick at this point for Tony Khan to do this, because I said to my good friend Jimmy Macaram of the True Heat YouTube channel that Tony, when the ratings came out and Dynamite got whooped by NXT, I was like, the best thing Tony Khan could do is just put out a tweet and be like, I bet see y'all next year, or see y'all November 17th, because they gotta go head to head then too. So whatever he needed to say, it should have just been like, all right, cool, like something simple. All of that, yeah, you're gonna get dragged for that, because that's some That's some sore loser ass mentality,
Yeah.
100% of the way. So I expected everyone to drag his ass, and everyone did. From fans to Booker T to Road Dogg Jesse James to Jim Cornette, like Eric Bischoff.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
Jesus Christ. It was just like, damn. But let's be honest here. Over the weekend, that was the only news we had to talk about, right? So tweet forever. Tweet forever.
I was gonna say
Plus, if you noticed, Fightful put out the report, and I peeped game 2. When he put that tweet out, he immediately followed up with 3 match announcements that all got the same amount of traction that original tweet got. So it was a method to the madness. So at the end of the day, if he was just doing this and there was no point to it, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You just look like mad soft, mad sore loser-ish. It'd be one thing. But when you're doing this, and yes, I'm going to call you a sore loser because that's my initial reaction to what I read, and then I see what you really did, it's just like, go off. Go off, do your thing. Like, people need to realize, for me, I don't think Eric Bischoff's real problem was ever bringing up WWE. It was not focusing enough on what they were doing on WCW and making key mistakes there at the same time WWE was on their hottest run. WWE is unbelievably hot right now.
Yes,
folks. There is nothing Tony Khan and AEW can do to mess that up. Only WWE can mess that up.
Yep.
And only WWE can stop them from being unbelievably hot right now. There's nothing that's going to get AEW to that top spot right now. All they have to do is just keep doing what they're doing. And if that keep doing what they're doing also includes Tony Khan, keep tweeting out shit. If you're going to continue to give us this great product on screen, tweet forever. Because folks need to realize, whenever WWE has been unbelievably hot, the number 2 was never this good on screen.
no.
WCW in 1998, they were already effing up. TNA at its height already were effing up and already had a bunch of issues. Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA. We have never seen a second number 2 company in professional wrestling in the last 4 decades to be this good on screen, to be this much of a success so quickly. We have never seen anything like AEW. So regardless of how we feel about Tony Khan and his tweeting, as long as he's doing that, I don't have any issue. I can't tell him. I can't
Right
tell him
now.
to handle
Right now.
his social media account.
Right now, arguably, maybe not even arguably, you can say the better wrestling, the better characters, and the better stories, at least from a top tier level. I'm talking the very tip top. If you take WWE's best against AEW's best, AEW's beating them in all 3. In all 3 right now. But WWE is kicking their ass as far as the ratings are concerned because they have the entire casual audience. And that's what Tony has got to figure out how to tap into. He's got to figure out how to tap into that. And look, he's got his base. He's got them, right? He's got 500,000 for every show except Rampage, but that's understandable. He's got 500,000. Like, Collision was up this week. It worked. Yeah. Like, the tweeting worked. Collision got up to 500,000 viewers on a Saturday night. That is not bad in today's landscape of TV viewership, especially going up against college football games, right? Like, the tweeting worked. That's what he's got to get to. He's got to get back to that fire, that passion that, when he's got to get AEW, whether it's good or bad, he's got to find a way to get AEW's name out there so more people check it out. So, yeah, obviously, when Tony Khan is trending because he's putting out, and he's trending next to John Cena and The Undertaker, people are going to look, and then people are going to look at his page, and they're going to go, oh shit, Bryan Danielson's wrestling Christian Cage on Saturday. Let me check that shit out. So yeah, he's going to say dumb shit.
The ticket sales last week improved. They have to keep like the improvements that they did on there, that they've been seeing this difference with their local promotions. Keep doing that and even go harder. Like
Yes.
it's already looking like they're gonna get 10,000 for Full Gear. That's gonna look good. And I think that the build up for Full Gear has been good so far as well. Like as far as creatively, this is the best time AEW has ever had. That's why I like keep emphasizing the fact that we have never seen the number two company this good. This good as far as like, and even with the TV ratings being where it is, it's still better than a lot of the other number twos have been when the number one is unbelievably hot. That's
Yeah.
how it is in any industry, including professional wrestling.
He's got to figure out a way right now. Like this needs to be his biggest priority. He's got to figure out how to get more eyes quickly, because the longer that Vince stays away, the more that he risks WWE's creative catching up to him, right? Like we're now going to see what Triple H can do with no restraints. And if he is as good or better than Tony Khan with the star power that he has and the audience that he has, Tony's never going to be able to recover from that. But I don't know how he does it. Maybe he's got to send out more bullshit tweets. Maybe he's got to bring some more like mainstream, like, celebrities or something to the broad, or again, maybe it just comes down to the local promotion and getting more people packed in the house. However, he's got to do it.
You just have to improve on yours. Like the what you're saying is, if the goal is to become number one, it should not be, because it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna, if you're listening to this, Tony Khan, I'm gonna give you the best advice ever. You're never going to be the number one wrestling promotion, but you can be the greatest number two wrestling promotion we've ever seen. And you are on that path. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't listen to Rick. Don't do all that throwing celebrities and stuff. Just improve on the places that you need to improve. Improve on the booking of your women. Improve on the booking of the talent that they have basically gotten, stale, or like should have been more for you. Improve on those aspects. Improve on the local promotion and having people like Paul White, Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett, these known names that you have that have decades of equity with these wrestling fans. Those are the guys that you don't need in the ring. You need to have locally to promote your shows. Every week, Dynamite, Collision, you have one of those guys locally in those places beforehand. Improve on those accounts. As far as TV ratings, there's nothing really you can do outside of continuing to give a consistent, very entertaining product and interesting stories. Stuff like Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Those will get people to start watching. You saw that on Collision this week. You'll see that probably on Dynamite this week. Of course, it's going to be up from 600,000 and going against the fucking WWE All-Star game. So just keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to be number one. You just need to be the greatest number two we have ever seen.
Safet, TKO stock market is down today. It's going to continue to go down until they get a TV deal for Raw and NXT. That's part of the reason why it's dragging down right now, and that's part of the reason why Vince is in the doghouse with Ari Emanuel, is he has not secured a television rights deal so far for Raw and NXT. The second that they get that deal, especially if it's more money than what they got for SmackDown, especially if it's with somebody like a Disney or an Amazon or wherever the hell they're going to end up going with this, or if it's back on Fox and they just do a trade of brands, that stock will go back up. Don't worry, that stock will go back up. SP3, what do you and your 10,000 subscribers got going on True Heel Heat this weekend?
Right now, you got my interview with GCW and MLW star Alec Prices over on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. We chatted at StarCast, talking about how he got into professional wrestling, his inspirations, how he's been coming up in the business, only 24 years old. So check that out on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel right now. Tomorrow, we'll be dropping our Super Junior Tag League for New Japan Pro Wrestling preview, previewing that tournament that starts on Saturday. We got our Dynamite review on Thursday, and then on Friday we got a preview for Bound for Glory Impact Wrestling, Will Ospreay versus Speedball Mike Bailey. That's going to be amazing. Josh Alexander versus Alex Shelley. And I got an interview dropping this week with Impact Wrestling star Giselle Shaw, talking about Bound for Glory and their upcoming UK tour.
Nice. Love it. Guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button here on Bleav in Pro Wrestling, and then check out my pinned tweet at Rick Ucchino. Get registered to win 2 tickets to Full Gear at the Kia Forum, November 18th. Watch Switchblade, Jay White, and MJF tear the house down for the Triple B, the AEW World Championship. Again, all you have to do is be a subscriber and retweet my pinned tweet. That's how you get registered. That's the pool that I'm going to pick from, is the people who have retweeted that post. So make sure that you do both. And on November 1st, 2 winners are going to get a pair of tickets to get into the Kia Forum on Saturday, November 18th. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate everybody who subscribed so far. Appreciate everybody who has hit the like video. Appreciate everybody who watched this episode. SP3 and myself will be back next Tuesday around 2:15-ish. Enjoy NXT tonight. Enjoy Dynamite tomorrow. Enjoy SmackDown and Rampage and Collision and Raw. And we'll be back on Tuesday to talk about all of it. Take care, everybody. This has been the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast, brought to you by Bet Online.